This week's Parsha starts talking about the Makos, how Hashem starts plaguing the Egyptians, ultimately leading to the Yidden leaving Mitzrayim. Among the 7 plagues spoken about in this week's Parsha, we have the second plague, the second Makkah of Tzvardeya, of frogs. Hashem sent the frogs throughout the land of Mitzrayim, causing a big disturbance, and that was one of the big players in the Jews ultimately leaving Mitzrayim. The Medrash actually talks about how we have to look at the world that all the insignificant things are really significant. All the insignificant animals that you think does nothing are actually very, very important. For example, the Medrash says, if there were no frogs, how would Hashem punish Mitzrayim? From there is a lesson that we see that even something that's insignificant as a frog is actually very useful. However, the question on that is very simple. How could you say that if Hashem didn't have the frogs, he wouldn't be able to punish the Egyptians if he had 9 other Makos lined up? He had 9 other plagues lined up minus the frogs. If, let's say, there were no frogs in the world, we would have still been fine. What's this idea of the whole punishment, the whole idea of punishing the Egyptians is centered around the frogs, is centered around the second Makkah, Makkah Tzvardeya. Explains the Rebbe that we have to really understand what Mitzrayim was and who Pare was to understand the punishments that went to them. When it comes to denying in Hashem's existence, there are 3 levels. There are those who don't deny God's existence, but they do accept the fact that Hashem has helpers that help him manage the world. They deny Achdus Hashem, they deny Hashem's unity. They believe that Hashem created other beings to help run the world. Then there's a step worse, which is that Hashem is here, but he has nothing to do with me. Yes, there is a stronger power called God, but I don't come from him, I'm not dependent on him, and I don't need him. And then there's a level of complete denial in God's existence, that there is no God in the world. At first glance, you would think the third one is so much worse. Denying Hashem is probably one of the worst things a person could do. Deny God's existence. But explains the Rebbe, no, the second one's the worst. It's worse to believe that Hashem exists, but he has no connection to me, than that there is no God at all. Because someone who doesn't believe in a God is constantly fighting with that thought. It is a constant struggle with every abnormal thing that he sees in the world. He tries to find explanations of why there's no God. But to the person who believes that there is a God, that Hashem is there, but he has no relationship with me, it's very hard to get him out of that. Because anything he sees will be, that's the way Hashem put it, and Hashem walked away. That was Mitzrayim. If you look at the Psukim, Pare never told Moshe, I don't believe your God exists. He always said, I can't see your God. I don't care who he is because he has no connection to me. That's great, he exists. What does he have to do with creatures like us in the world? And to this, Makkah Tzvardeya stands out above any other. The plague of frogs stands out. Why? Because that exemplified the idea of Hashem being down in this world even to the most insignificant details. Even the things that are seemingly useless, like frogs, they don't even hurt. For animals that hurt and damage, you can say that Hashem created them to punish the wicked. But to animals that literally do nothing, they seem as if they have no purpose. That's the idea. Moshe tells Pare, watch what Hashem's gonna do. Hashem is going to take this seemingly most insignificant creature, it doesn't help, it doesn't hurt, and use it against you. Why? Not to punish you, but to teach you a lesson, that Hashem is involved with just about everything. And really, an amazing lesson can be taken out of this, because we all fight with our personal Mitzrayim, we all fight with our personal Egypt. We might not be living in the land of Egypt, but we have to fight with it every day. We have to fight with our boundaries, our challenges, our struggles. But if we realize that every interaction we have, every encounter that we come across is all orchestrated by Hashem, and that he has a connection to every one of us on a personal level, we'll never get deterred. We'll never get distracted. We'll never get sidelined. If we take the message of the frogs that Hashem is involved with every single thing in the world, even the most little, seemingly insignificant details, then no matter what challenges might come our way, we won't look at them as setbacks, but as ways to get higher, as ways to elevate the world. Because if Hashem gave it to you, he knows you can succeed, and he knows you can come through. And by doing this, we will ultimately be Zeicha for the final redemption, for the final Geula with the coming of Mashiach. May he come speedily in our days. Wishing you a good Shabbos.